Hello, Archangel here with my second beginner's class guides, and we're going to stick with the Deathknight, Sandy Cheeks here, and the Ghoul, and we're going to have a look at Unholy PvP. Now, the talent guide is, it can be changed quite a bit, your talents for this, but you want to be going like this here probably. You've got 2 points in Unholy Command and 3 in Vigilance here, with none in Epidemic, bear in mind, because you're going to keep applying your Frost Fever when using Chains of Ice, and you just have to use Plague Strike to put your Blood Plague back up. I'm not going to be using Resilient Infection, although it does look like a PvP ability here, because it is pretty useless, because when your diseases are dispelled, which they won't be dispelled because you're going to have Unholy Blight up preventing any diseases from being dispelled. So there's a bit of a clash there on those talents. Instead you're going to be taking damage in there and Desecration, which is very useful. You're definitely going to need Death's Advance, which makes sure you can't be your speed can't be reduced below 75% of your normal speed. You're also going to be wanting to take Shadow Infusion and Dark Transformation for your Ghoul here, as this is one of your most important abilities that you'll have. Magic Suppression and Anti-Magic Zone are a pretty much must to take care of spellcasters here. And Sudden Doom and Rage of Rivendare, well, you can take one and drop one really, from what I've seen. The Sudden Doom isn't all that important, I believe, and it might need to be changed. But yeah, you need to take the Gargoyle for damage, and it's always best to take 3 points in Bladed Armour, whatever talent you're going down. And like, tanking, I guess, even needs it, because of the you have even more armour increasing you by even more attack power. Blade Barrier is also very useful, but doesn't have to be taken because you take 6% less damage from all sources, so that's pretty useful. As for glyphs, you want to be using the Glyph of Death Call, Glyph of Scourge Strike, and Glyph of Raised Dead. You have to be using them really, there's nothing else you can do. Glyph of Strangulate is very useful, Glyph of Pestilence, well, and Glyph of Anti-Magic Shell. That's Anti-Magic Shell is definitely a must because you get 2 more seconds of anti-magic and you get to generate rune power from that thanks to your talents. Minor glyphs, I've gone for Resilient Grip, Horn of Winter and Blood Tap. For your rotation, you want to always keep your Frost Fever and Blood Plague up on the target, and you want to be using Scourge Strike and Festering Strike to keep your runes going around. Festering Strike will generate you death runes, so once those death runes are up you want to be using Scourge Strike. But Necrotic Strike is also very useful on targets that are being backed by healers or are healers, and you want to use that instead of Scourge Strike on some occasions. But Scourge Strike is the main attack that you have, with Festering Strike just getting you the death runes to get more Scourge Strikes basically. You want to keep Death and Decay on the ground when fighting in single target or AoE really, because it is just an extra piece of DPS. When you've got enough Death Calls going, you always want to transform your Ghoul into this Dark Transformation, because it's going to increase your DPS by a lot, and he has a nice cleave, so when you're around a rated BG flags it's very useful. As you can see, my diseases have dropped off now, I'm waiting for them to come back. Death Grip is a very useful ability on all specs of course, which can be used to drag targets towards you. You've also got Blood Tap, which gives you a free death rune, there you go. So you can use an instant Scourge Strike basically. You've got your Icebound Fortitude, which takes you out of stuns and reduces damage. Now, this is one of the only few defensive cooldowns you have as an Unholy DK, and you don't have much heals either. Horn of Winter has to be kept up at all times to increase your damage, and Pestilence is useful when in AoE battles. You want to use Anti-Magic Shell against casters when you feel like it really. There are better times than others. And, well, yeah, Anti-Magic Zone also used when casters, but only when you're fighting them in the same place. If they're moving, it's going to be pretty useless because you're going to have to move out of your Anti-Magic Zone. This is the only real heal you've got, Death Pact, which means sacrificing your Ghoul, but of course you can raise your Ghoul again. And the target must be bound to me apparently, even though he's right here. You've got Army of the Dead, which is 10-minute cooldown, but not many people actually use that as banned in most occasions. And of course your Interrupt, Mind Freeze, and your Silent Strangulate are very useful. Dark Simulacrum. That's fun to have. Well, it's good to have a bit of fun with that. See what abilities you can steal. You can steal things like bubbles, tranquilities, all sorts, which can be pretty good fun. And you also want to have where is it? Your ghoul stun on your bars. Gnaw here. This is pretty useful. That's a 3-second stun to anything, and well, yeah, you don't want him to be doing it, so make sure you take it off the rotation here. Also, you need to be using Unholy Frenzy and Summon Gargoyle here, and Impale Rune Weapon, which is on a 5-minute cooldown, but it's very useful when you've got all those death runes spinning round but not actually ready yet, and you can activate 6 Scourge Strikes at the same time. Gemming and enchanting, basically almost the same as Frost. You want to be going for spell penetration on 2 pieces of gear, then the spell penetration enchant on your cloak. You want to be gemming strength and enchanting strength as much as you can, but haste is your off gem if you're using yellow, and strength/stamina is probably best when you've got a blue gem. For your weapon enchant, you want to be using Rune the Fallen Crusader on a 2-handed weapon. Do not dual wield in Unholy, believe me. And that's about it. Thank you for watching, and I'll be sure to have, I think next week I'll do an Elemental Shaman video, or a Resto Shaman maybe, so look forward to that. Goodbye, and remember to subscribe.